Kittu, always a pleasure to welcome you.
Thank you.
I think from the last time we spoke, it has evolved so much in terms of the technology scene outside. This year's conference focus has been on big data and SDI. And both you and NEA are focused investing in this area. I wanted to talk to you about, if you look back just barely 3 years ago, we didn't even know the terminology called big data. Suddenly it's in everybody's mind, everybody's talking. But it's applicable to the lowest denominator, which is the consumer. It's just that we don't understand. So would appreciate if you can break us down why it is important, how it's relevant, and how you're looking at opportunities to invest in these areas.
Yeah, sure. I think things like big data and a lot of the artificial intelligence techniques that are being used today wouldn't actually be possible if it were not for some of the commoditization on the hardware side of things, particularly with compute power increasing, with network bandwidth increasing. What's happened is that software is really taken over in a big way, right? And you've got the proliferation of mobile devices and devices that are also generating a lot of data. And so what's happening is that you've got large amounts of unstructured and semi-structured data, which didn't used to be the case previously. It was mostly structured data. And so you had the emergence of relational databases around structured data. But now what you have is you have a whole lot of unstructured data, and people are trying to make sense of that unstructured data, and it's kind of like white noise, and you're trying to figure out what is the little piece of information, and you don't actually know what you're looking for. It's not like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack, because if you were, you would know what a needle looks like.
Right.
For a lot of people, it's not about searching for something, it's really discovering something. And I think that's where big data is coming in, which helps you find correlations between what seems to be relatively unconnected or disconnected pieces of information, and then acting upon that. And that, coupled with machine learning, where you're doing some amount of supervised or unsupervised learning, is what creates a really powerful combination. So that's on the big data and the machine learning side that I think is very interesting. Also to very interesting applications. The second area that is of particular interest to me is software-defined infrastructure. And as I mentioned earlier, a lot of the infrastructure is today getting commoditized, starting with compute power and network. But you still need some amount of hardware, but you can use a lot of commodity hardware. But the intelligence is moving into the software layers, and that is enabling you to scale out in a horizontal fashion. It enables elasticity and horizontal scale out in a way that we've never seen before, all the way from compute to storage to network. And I think that's what is really exciting about the innovation that's going on out there.
When you look at investing with entrepreneurs, especially in big data, it's not so much, as you said, discovery. It's half, computation, half about analytics, and mostly I think when you look at, it's about understanding how we can sift through so much information that's being bombarded to us all the time. So when you pick the entrepreneurs, are you looking for people who have the ability to understand the human behavior, human psychology, as well, along with obviously the technology part of it?
Some of that comes in with that learning capability that I talked about, the machine learning capability, because you want to be able to make decisions based on correlations and inferences that you're seeing, and you want to be able to do that to some amount of supervised learning. A lot of it is unsupervised learning, because you want machines to be able to make that decisions. So cognitive science does play a role in that, and that's basically what it is, right? I mean, at the end of the day, artificial intelligence is all about trying to make machines do what the human mind can.
When it comes to investing then, always, there's a big struggle for entrepreneurs starting out. Once they start the self-funding route, the good angels, and they always think of people like yourself who are investing. But it's difficult to reach out to you. Some people say,
what are you talking about, man? I'm so easy to reach out. Email me at kittu@nea.com.
That's a good plug, but it's not easy because it's not just about you, but big VC firms. So at what stage do you want to look at entrepreneurs and their ideas?
I look at entrepreneurs all the way from a seed stage. I mean, I've written checks as small as $250K, sometimes $100K, to checks as large as $50 million. So I think there is no idea really that is too early. And if for some reason I'm not comfortable doing it, it's not because the idea is too early. It is because I'm not sure whether it fits our model. Our fund is got a certain size and we look for a certain type of an outcome. And so if an investment opportunity at the outset doesn't seem like one that fits our model, I might just say, hey, I think I'm going to sit on the sidelines for now, but let's stay connected. I'm happy to help you. But down the road, if you prove me wrong, I would love to have that conversation again.
I also hear, this is like you say that, when you come to us, don't come with a pitching idea. First try to, get some insight and some advice so you can develop a bit more before you're ready and mature to come. Because when you're pitching, then all we are doing is we are trying to validate your plan.
Yes and no. I think that a lot of times when people come to us for seed investments, it is really on an idea. They might have made a little bit of progress on this, but not that much. And but we write a relatively small check.
Sure.
So we're okay with that. So, it is risk adjusted, so to speak. But my advice to a lot of entrepreneurs would be this, and I did this when I was an entrepreneur. When we were building Neoteris, for instance, before we raised our first round of financing, we had 6 customers who had installed our product and were using it as in alpha software mode. And I think there is nothing that speaks to a venture capitalist louder than a customer saying, hey, I love this product. Because at the end of the day, what an entrepreneur needs to find is a use case that has a killer value proposition to a set of customers that's large enough that you can build a large business out of. And once you can prove that out, the money will follow. Money will absolutely follow.
As a successful entrepreneur and a VC for now many years, when you look at the emerging entrepreneurs that are coming to you, do you look at them differently compared to somebody who has not been a successful entrepreneur before?
No, not at all. To me, one of the great things about this country is that, unlike the country we come from, failure is not looked down upon. Failure is actually celebrated.